In the first 6 months of this year, I've made more money than I have ever made in my entire life in a year. And, that's because I'm an old man, right? I am 25 years old. But the thing about it is, one day back in the day, I used to be a young man, right? And I guess people call me young now still, but I mean, I think 25 is just normal age now. But the thing about it is, the reason why I make so much money now is not because I cracked some crazy code, but I just got better every single year since I was pretty much 16 years old in wholesaling real estate. Now, the thing about it is when you're young, a lot of people think you have these disadvantages or, you have these problems. And this is why you can't be successful, right? When you're young, that's a problem. Well, the dang truth about this is no one will ever say this, right? And this is like such a crazy topic to say, but when you are young, you are at the greatest advantage for success. You just have more reps you can put in wholesaling to get you ahead of 99% of the curve. Like anybody, I've never met really anyone that started wholesaling at 16, 17, even 18 years old, right? I don't know one person that started at that age and every single year, they put at least 20 hours a week. And for 5 years, they didn't have $1 million. Like it just doesn't happen. The thing about it is when you're young, you learn a lot quicker. And so if you could just start while you're young and just keep compounding it, by the time you're 25, where most people get started, right? I mean, I think I've seen most wholesalers, right? They get started at like 29, 30 years old. You have such a head start that you can completely destroy everyone. And their head start isn't confidence. The head start isn't, just this belief you have. The confidence you have is you know what works and you know what doesn't work. And if you could just cut that in half, right, you could get the most insane head start over everybody else in wholesaling real estate. And so the untold truth about getting rich in wholesaling real estate, especially when you're young, right, it's all about going out here and just learning what's working and what doesn't, right? And the thing I've always found is when you're young, right, there are so many options, right? You could be a doctor, you could be a lawyer, even in wholesaling, right? You can call, text. There's all these different options of how you can become successful. And the one thing that has always reigned true for me, and this is a quote, I believe, from Bill Gates, but simplicity scales, complexity fails. And I have said this time and time again, when you complicate this business, when you overdo, wholesaling real estate, you're always going to lose. Because when you have too many options, you flip out. And this is why you look at some of the top like restaurants, right? It's like Chick-fil-A. They only sell certain things on the menu and they get really good at that. That's all they focus on. They can succeed doing it. And if you look at Apple, which I believe is the largest company out there. Yeah, I believe they're the largest by market share. No, it might be NVIDIA, whatever, right? But like even NVIDIA, right? They only sell like 3 or 4 products. Like, that's all they do. Right? Apple, they got like 5 or 6 products. That's it. They don't have 17,000 different ones. They just focus on a certain amount of things. The simplicity will scale the fastest for you. This is why if you're succeeding with cold calling, all you have to do is just keep calling, add more lists. Don't try to get anything cute. Then when you expand that, then you could start adding texting. You could start adding some drawing for dollars, reverse drawing for dollars. But if you just really complicate this, right, you're going to fail. And, we got people all over the whole world watching this, right? I mean, we're live on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, everything, right? Even on WAP, right? And we'll always get hundreds and hundreds of people come here every single night and watch live. And the thing about it is the worst thing you can possibly do is watch me talk about this live and just do nothing, right? And the ones that I've always seen succeed, and everyone knows, right? If you go to freewholesaling.com, we got like 36,000 people in there, right? You see people posting every single day. Hey, Zach, I made 20 grand. Hey, Zach, I made 40 grand. Hey, Zach, I made 100 grand this month, right? And you see, just literally go to freewholesaling.com, go to testimonials right there. Last month, we showed $1.4 million of successful students that I taught for free. And the thing is, you're going to notice with every single one of them is they don't complicate it. They all keep it really dang simple. They just, hey, I went in my car. I looked for ugly houses. Hey, I pulled a probate list. I texted it. Boom, got a deal. If you're asking yourself, right, and we had somebody, one of our streams the other day is like, oh my gosh, Zach, what script should I use for calling probates? Just call them. Because I can't call until I get the script. No. The reason why you're not succeeding right now is you're just you have all these obstacles, right? Anything that's going to stop you from just doing the work is the problem. And if you can just simplify this to talking to people that have ugly houses, that is your dragon to slay. Okay. Your dragon is not having the right script. Your dragon is not feeling confident. Your dragon is just getting on that phone and making the calls. Your dragon is going out here on Google Voice and making the text. Your dragon is just getting that card looking for ugly houses. 90% of the work is just getting there, right? It's like going to the gym, right? You want to be jacked, right? If you want to be jacked, 90% of the problem is just showing up to the gym. It's not even working out. It's 90% of the problem for most people is just going to the gym. It's crazy. It's absolutely insane. Okay. It's crazy. I don't understand why so many people, flip out on me of why I can't become successful. The reason you're not successful right now, right, is because you're just not doing the work. And so when you're a young man, young woman, right, you want to become successful, you want to get rich wholesaling, right, it's going to require two things from you. It's always going to be two things usually. And if you could slay these two dragons, for success, you're going to start winning. And what they are first and foremost, right, what I've always found is outside influences is going to kill more success than anything else. And you can call yourself an influence, right? I mean, it really depends on, how you bundle this up. But like when you go out here and you start getting into wholesaling, you are first and foremost your worst enemy, right? You're going to tell yourself, oh, this isn't for me. It's not going to work. And most people, they try something new, they're always going to quit it the first month. 80% of them, right? And it's because they don't instantly see results. But if you just go out here and just keep doing it every dang day, and you just don't start, you'll start seeing results. So if you drown everybody else giving you their stupid opinions on what's working, what's not, that's okay. That is the first problem most people have, is the outside influence. Another problem is a lot of you guys will marry the process, not the results. And what I mean by this is you guys fall in love with the process of doing something that you were married to it. You're like locked in. You will never change your process. You'll only change. You won't change that. You'll change everything else except for the process. What I mean by this is if you're calling a list and it's just not working and it has been working for 2 months, you go call me, Zach, I called 40,000 FISBOs and I hadn't got one deal. Well, stop. Guys, a lot of the success in wholesaling is you take my information and you understand the nuances between that. If you've put thousands of hours and you don't get one person to pick up, maybe you should be like, okay, no one's picking up. Maybe I should ask some people on freewholesaling.com what's going on. That's the first problem. And I see so many men and women that struggle with this because they don't know the nuances of this. And so what you should do is you should figure out where you're getting the most leads and then just stick to those lead sources. Remember, simplicity scales, complexity fails. And so if I call the code violations, the fire damage properties, a drawing for dollars list, right? And for every 100 calls on drawing for dollars, I get 4 leads. Every 100 calls on fire damage, I get no leads. Every 100, I get 7 leads on code violations. Like, well, we should stick to code violations, drawing for dollars. And let's keep doing more of what's working and less what that is not working, right? And I know this sounds stupid, but that's how kids learn. Like, it's crazy. Like, if you look at little kids, they learn from, they do things they like and they don't do things they don't like. When they're a kid, they don't know what foods taste like. They've never had apple pie before. They'll eat apple pie, say, oh, I like this. I'm going to start eating more of that. They eat broccoli. They're like, oh, I don't like this. I'm not going to, And it's kind of funny that like us as adults kind of like forget everything about our childhood, but you kind of have to learn and treat wholesaling like this. This is a brand new thing we're learning and a brand new thing we're doing. And so the thing about it is you have to just understand that wholesaling is so market specific that all the lists I tell you, most of them are going to work, but some are going to work better than others. And it's that little like arbitrage of what's working, what's not, right? And so when you get started, right, a lot of your family is going to tell you it's a scam. A lot of your friends are going to say, oh, wholesaling don't work. Yeah, it's not going to happen. Oh. The thing about this is everyone's going to tell you wholesaling is not going to be, it's not going to work, and a lot of them are trying to tell you it's not going to work because it protects their ego. And when you do it and it doesn't work, it solidifies in their mind why they shouldn't take risks in their life. And you'll find pretty quick, and I found this very, very quick in my life. When I started making a lot of money wholesaling, the people in my life that were happy for me were true friends, and the people that were not happy I was making so much money, I was leveling up right in life, they didn't want to level up in their life either, and they started getting jealous and angry. And anyone that's ever been young that's made a lot of money can understand this. I know it's a very small club, and not to say it like in a weird way, but like you'll find pretty quick, most people don't want you to succeed. Outside of your spouse, maybe, and your dad or mom, like most people don't want you to succeed. That's not a bad thing, but you got to understand that you shouldn't share your $1 million ideas to people making 30 grand a year, because they're going to talk about the risks, right? I've had people tell me, "Oh my gosh, Zach, that thing you have is very expensive. That seems like such a waste," right? And it's so funny when people say that, right? Like I've heard people legit say like, "Oh my gosh, why would you buy a car like this? That's way too expensive. I've never bought a car that expensive." And you always got to say like, "Well, I would never make 40 grand a year," right? That's a terrible, absolute terrible thing to do. Like I could never make 40 grand a year. And when you flip that thinking on someone, they start flipping out, right? People legit will tell you like, "Oh my God, I don't understand how anyone will spend $2,000 on a phone. I don't understand how people make 40 grand a year and accept that in their life." There's nothing wrong about making 40 grand a year, but there's a problem about just accepting that in your life and then telling people how they should be spending their money. When most people, you don't never have a spending problem, right? You have an income problem. And if you're complaining about the price of things, it's probably because you're not making enough money. And either you just cheap out on things you buy, or you start making a lot more money to make up for it. And it's a lot, the thing about money is the more you make, the more you make. And what I mean by this is once you make $1 million, it's a lot easier to make the next million. The first million's the hardest, the second million's the second hardest, and then it gets easier and easier and easier. The thing about it is once you start making more money, you start looking at money and time differently. What I'm telling you to do is people who want you to stay at your $30,000, $40,000 a year, get a job, do it, like they're going to keep you there. They're going to drag you down. It's like a crab in a bucket. But what you need to do, all right, is just kind of keep some of the stuff to yourself, right? There's a Harvard study, I believe, 10 years ago. I got to look back at it. But basically, this is a fundamental truth in psychology. But you get the same dopamine hit from saying you're going to do something than actually doing it. So if you say, "I'm getting a wholesaling real estate, I'm going to make 100 grand this year," your brain doesn't know the difference between saying it and doing it. And that means you get the same dopamine hit of hitting 100 grand than actually doing it yourself. And that's why a lot of people love to say a new thing that they do, because they're excited and they get dopamine hits from it versus them actually doing it for a year, right? It's like, you ever see those memes of like presidents, like when they get in the office and 4 years after, like they come out like all gray and wrinkly and sad and stressed. Same thing in wholesaling, right? You're all, "I'm excited." And then you get through a year like, "Oh, Jesus." That's what wholesaling real estate is to a point, right? And everyone's going to tell you it's a scam, but nobody's ever going to explain why it's a scam. Why is it a scam? Well, because you can make money, and I have never done that in my life. It's absolutely insane to me, right? They're going to say, "Oh, wholesaling doesn't work." Well, we got $1.4 million of verified people on wholesaling.com that have never heard about me a month ago, and they got rich wholesaling. So that's the thing. You just got to get rich. So guys, here's the thing. You're going to get told too, wholesaling sucks. The only way you're ever going to be successful in wholesaling is if you pay me money. That is the only way you're going to be successful. It's so stupid. You're too young to get into wholesaling. You're too young to be buying my house. That one's a hilarious confidence problem, which we'll talk about today. Guys, I can tell you from the bottom of my heart that you need to ignore all the outside influences in your life telling you that you shouldn't make money in wholesaling. And I know a lot of people, "Oh, he's just here to sell me a program." I ain't got no program to sell you. Here's the thing. If you're watching this and you're young, right? You're 18, 19, 20 years old. You are never going to have this opportunity in your life ever again to become successful as an entrepreneur. Now, I know a lot of people say that that's very drastic to say, and you'll say, "Well, Ray Kroc was 56 when he got." Let me tell you about Ray Kroc. Guy ruined his life getting into business. But the thing about it is possible when you're older to get rich. It really is, especially as an entrepreneur. but it gets harder and harder and harder and harder. And the people that you always look up to, right? You look up to, Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, all these guys, right? It's like they all went all in on businesses when they were like 20, 21 years old. Mark Zuckerberg, all these guys, like the people you really look up to, they've all went all in when they were young, because once you get married and you have kids, it's a lot harder to start a business. There's a lot more to lose. And the thing about it is, when you're 23 and you put 70, 80, 90 hours a week into wholesaling, like you're young, you're ambitious, you're cool. But when you're 45, it's kind of sad. And there's no offense to anyone that's older getting into wholesaling. Go do it, right? I say, but like, think about it is, no one's ever going to knock a person working 100 hours trying to make it on a come up as a young guy or gal. And if it doesn't work, it's like, well, I was young and dumb, right? You can always say that. And, when you're 45 with a kid and a wife, and now you're bankrupt on the streets, and they're like, you're a terrible father. Like, there's a big difference between the two, right? And so I'm telling everyone, ignore the haters, ignore everyone telling you it's not going to work. The thing about it is, you just need 20 hours a week and your whole life will be changed. The one thing I could tell you too is, I get a lot of young kids that have parents that say wholesaling doesn't work, right? I was actually talking to Isaiah. I was on a stream last week on someone else's channel, and I was talking to Isaiah, and he was talking about how he has a potential $130,000 deal. He's in the Discord, right? And I told him, hey, like, what do your parents think? I told him, like, I think he's 19, 20 years old, right? I said, what do your parents think about you getting wholesaling? He's like, oh yeah, like, they never believed in me. They said it was never going to work. And then I shoved a $20,000 check in their face and said, okay, guess it works. And the thing about it is, your parents are very amazing people, but you will learn one day that they are human beings. Like, they make mistakes. They are just like you. This is their first time doing life also, right? And they're still learning. And when they tell you that you shouldn't get into wholesaling, it's to protect you, right? It's like, well, my parents taught me this, so you need to do this, right? But the thing about it is, if they're making 40 grand a year and you shove a $40,000 check of an assignment fee from wholesaling in their face, and it only took you a week to make that, and you spent $0, and a lawyer signed the check from a law office, what are they going to say? Legitimately, like, Isaiah's parents couldn't say anything. It's like, you're making more than us, son. Like, there's nothing they can say. And so everyone's so afraid of their parents. They're so afraid, like, do it in secret. Like, half of y'all are smoking weed, behind your parents' backs in secret. I promise you, wholesaling is you wholesaling behind their back, and then you pull up with a $20,000 check. They ain't gonna be mad at that at all. The other thing I don't know, right? I just know high school kids, right? But the thing about it is, if you'll do some of these other crazy things behind your parents' back, why don't you just wholesale behind their back? When you pull up with their salary in 1 month, there is nothing they're going to say to you. There is absolutely nothing they're going to say. I have dealt with some kids with the most aggressive, like, tiger mom parents. I don't know if that was the correct word to say, but I know a lot of Asian American people in wholesaling, because obviously I'm white. So, it's a different, culture growing up, but I know a lot of people in wholesaling that their parents basically were in this thing. And let me know in the comments if this is your parents, right? You need to be a doctor or a lawyer. You have to get straight A's, and you have to go to college. And these are people making $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 a year, maybe 100 grand a year, right? And we have these kids, right, that are, 16, 17 years old, that are being forced by their parents to do all these things. And they'll start pulling up and showing their parents $50,000 checks. And these are the most aggressive, and I'm saying this in the sweetest way, but like, these are some of the most aggressive parents when it comes to controlling where their life is heading and what they're going to do, right? And even those parents, right, once they see their kid is making 50 grand a month wholesaling, and we have this very documented, even the most craziest parents say, wow, son, you should keep doing that. And so what I'm saying is, of all the spectrums I've seen of parents telling you can't do it or you shouldn't do it, the most aggressive ones that you have to do this, when they see you're making money wholesaling, they all stop. They all stop. All the chit chat and noise goes from you shouldn't be doing the scam to how can I do it? Can you hire me? I get people on a daily basis say, hey, Zach, can you hire me? I'm like, bro, you You understand that I'm making all this money wholesaling and you're asking me for a job. You're not asking, hey, how can I do it? Right? How can I do it? No. I just want a job. This is why you're broke. This is why you can't pay the bills, because you constantly will keep this stupid mindset of job. Guys, it's crazy. All right. But in wholesaling real estate, you get paid not based off your time, but based on the value you bring in this world. This is why you make millions of dollars wholesaling and not just 100 grand. When your employee chooses how much your value is in this world. Okay. Drives me crazy. So ignore everyone and follow your heart. Now, the thing about it is wholesaling real estate is a get rich very quick scheme to a point, right? I won't call it get rich quick scheme, but we show every single day that, yes, you can make $30,000 in 14 days by wholesaling houses. We show it every single day. I show how I do it, right? Now, I don't like calling it a get rich quick scheme because that sounds bad. I like to call it a get rich quick ... hard work scheme. And what this basically means is you can 100% make a ton of money very, very quick without spending a dime wholesaling. That is a fact. That is a complete fact right now. But the ... is you have to work hard for it. Now, if I told you that I buried $20,000 in cash somewhere in your city, okay, somewhere in your city, I buried it, and here's a treasure map. Would you spend 10 hours this week? Let me know, guys, we're live. Would you spend 10 hours this week trying to find that treasure that I buried in the treasure chest? Say yes or no in the comments. Please let me know in the comment section. If I did that, right? If I went out here and buried $20,000 cash in your city and I gave you a treasure map with all these clues, would you spend at least 10 hours this week doing it? Right? Everyone's saying yes. LaBuena's saying no because she does deals. So, okay, fine, LaBuena, right? But everyone's saying yes. And here's the thing about it, right? Everyone says yes because that's apparently a guarantee. It's a guarantee it's there, right? When the funniest part is time and time again, I will go out here and show you the treasure in your city, which is wholesaling real estate, baby. It's just wholesaling real. I mean, I don't know how many times I got to pop out and show everyone doing these wins, right? But we got Rufin over here. He's doing 6 to 15 deals a month. Alex out here doing deals, code violations from Janaya, right? I don't go through all these, but like we see all these massive deals. We got 150 JVs, 17.5. Like there's so much money. Like it's absolutely disgusting in wholesaling just how much money there is to be made. And these are people way, way broker than you. 25 grand, 50 right there. And I mean, we can go all day on these testimonials. A lot of them are in the Discord. But the thing about it is the treasure chest is there. And there's 25,000 treasure chests. There's 40. I mean, Isaiah's case, $130,000 treasure chest, right? They're there. And if you spend 10 hours a week doing this, you're going to succeed. But the problem is so many of you guys want the guarantee that the deal's out there. Let me give you the guarantee right now. Somebody is going to make 50 grand this month in the city of Knoxville, Tennessee on an assignment this month. If I had to bet everything on it, that's a very, very easy bet, right? Because I think, no, we got like 10 grand of closings in Knoxville this week. So 10, 20, 30, I mean, maybe 40 grand I can make in Knox County this month. Probably not. Probably 1 or 2 deals in Knox County from the virtual, but like I can guarantee some guy's going to make 50 grand in Knoxville, right? This month. And so there is at minimum, okay, let's use Houston, Texas. There's probably $500,000 of buried cash of wholesaling deals that wholesalers around the whole entire country are going to get in Houston of just assignment fees. At least $500,000 this month in Houston, guarantee it. The thing about it is the money's buried and they're just properties. You just got to call the sellers. It's right there. But you guys don't like the treasure chest is there. Like the map, freewholesaling.com. I teach you how to do it in the free course, right? It's all there. You just don't want to do it. It's not guaranteed, guys. That treasure map is not guaranteed either. But you see time and time again, there's people in your city who are dumber, younger than you, that work way less than you, that are getting way more rich than you wholesaling. But you keep refusing to start wholesale. You refuse to do the work. It drives me crazy. And so I don't know why you guys keep month over month seeing other people getting richer, you're not doing it. So if you show up every single day, you do the work, you're going to get the results. And the most important part is you have to get out of your own head. Probably the hardest part. But you guys say you'll do 10 hours, but after 5 hours, like, I'm never going to find it. Hour 6, hour 7, and then boom, you find it, right? You got to get out of your own head here. You're going to always tell yourself, and this is always, every single time I ran a 5K, every single time, my brain will always try to come up with an excuse of why you should stop running and just start walking and taking a break. Every time the little demon in my mind tells me that you should take a breather, you should relax. Every single time. I don't do it, but it always comes out, right? When I was training for my marathon and I was running 10 to 15 miles a day, every single time I ran, there was always a little demon. It doesn't matter how good I was or how conditioned, there was always a little demon in my mind telling me that you should take a break. You don't want to hurt yourself. You've worked so hard today. Everyone has that little governor in their head, telling you, hey, you should relax. Like, everyone's got that. I mean, this is just human beings in general, right? You have to learn to basically just beat up that little demon in your head, that little weak person in your mind says you should relax, right? It should always be there to a point, I guess, but you should learn how to control it. And a lot of you guys will always let that person tell you that, wholesaling, you just don't do it. It's too hard. Your market's the problem. It's not. You got to get out of your own way. And the only way you get out of your own way is through discipline. Just do it every day. Treat it like a job. Here's the thing about it, right? You guys will tell yourself you shouldn't run or you shouldn't do it. And then you just let yourself get in your own way and you stop, right? Here's the problem. And I'm not going to ask anybody because I don't want to get anyone in trouble here, but like, who here works a job that you hate? I guarantee we got at least 50 people in here that have a job that they hate, right? Here's the thing about a job you hate. How many of you have this demon in your brain when you wake up in the morning early and you tell yourself, and then what happens when you wake up in the morning? Is there a little part of your brain, that little demon that says, you should just sleep in and not go to work today? That has always happened to people who have a job they hate. It always happens. Guaranteed, right? But you're like, well, I love my kids more than me looking to sleep in, right? And I don't want my kids to be on the street, so I guess I got to come up to work. And you beat that little demon on that part. But when it comes to wholesaling, it drives me crazy. And another analogy I like is you guys will spend 40 hours a week working for somebody else's dream, but never for your own dream. You'll never put 10 hours. You'll put 30 hours playing Call of Duty this week, but you'll never put the time in to do the own work for yourself. It drives me crazy. So you just got to get out of your own dang head. So many of you guys are in your own dang head here. Stop it. Okay. It's like when you wake up in the morning, still go to work. Treat wholesaling like this too. And the most important part is measuring the results. And what I mean again by measuring the results is you just got to stick to what works and delete the stuff that isn't working. And this can be half mindset, half actual results. And so what I always tell every single person, right, is, we'll do some one-on-ones today. But like when I do a one-on-one with someone, it's like, oh my gosh, Zach, I'm doing 2 deals a month. I'm like, okay, well, how are you getting deals? Well, I'm calling these all the lists, this list, and they're doing all these things. And I'm like, okay, well, how many deals have you done? Like, I've done 6 deals. Okay, well, what areas were you doing the deals? Oh, all in Houston. I'm like, okay, well, what lists? I haven't thought about that. It seems like every deal I've done in Houston has just been the probates, but I'm doing 17,000 different lists. I'm like, well, why don't we just only do probates and just do more of them? And then we'd go from 2 to 4 deals a month, right? I know it sounds stupid, but sometimes it takes someone looking at your business from like a 5-mile out view of being like, well, you're doing 2 deals a month and they're all from probates. And you like, cut out the stuff that's not working, right? It's like Chick-fil-A and, no one's buying the steak. Well, let's just stick to the chicken. And guess what? You probably make more money doing it, right? Stick to what works and get rid of and delete exactly the things that aren't working, that aren't serving you. And I'm going to call a new rule for everyone. And I have said this before on this channel, but I'm always going to keep saying this. But you should always ask yourself this question, is this way of thinking serving me to succeed in wholesaling, or does it not? And if it doesn't, I shouldn't think like this. So let's use an example. If you're calling and you tell yourself, oh, I'm so tired. Oh, this sucks. Oh. Okay. Well, is me thinking this going to help me succeed or help me not succeed? If it doesn't, I should stop thinking like this. Hey, you can do it today. You got this. You're an amazing person. You're alive. Today's a great day. Well, does thinking like that going to serve you for success or not? And so what I want everyone to consciously do, because a lot of us let our unconscious mind basically serve us through the day. We don't think about it, but like we'll complain, we'll roll our eyes, we'll like just be upset about the world. Well, is being upset the world going to change? Is going to make your life any better or not? And of course, we're humans, right? We all have problems, and we all have situations. But the thing about it is the thought going to serve me or not? And what I mean by this is if you have an excuse, when in wholesaling has an excuse ever served you? When has it ever served you? When has the thought, I'm tired, I shouldn't talk to a motivated seller today, ever served you? Never. And having this thought pattern and this new frame of thinking will always serve you to just do more deals. And it has never hurt you in wholesaling to be positive and eliminate you feeling like a sorry little wimp. Okay. You actually being a role figure for your family, you being confident, you believing in yourself, that will always serve you. You not thinking like that will never serve you. And so think about things and do things that will actually make you money, will actually push the needle forward in your business and not. And so stop feeling sorry for yourself. I can't stand it. And I've said this time and time again, and I'll never probably ever stop doing this, right? And a lot of people think, Zach, you're so tough on people in one-on-ones. I am the nicest guy when I talk to anybody in wholesaling. But the one thing I will never tolerate out of another human being, especially when it comes to wholesaling, is the thought pattern, which I believe half of Americans have, is that life is happening to me, not for me. Life is terrible. Why is this happening to me? I can't believe this is not fair. This is never fair. Oh my gosh, I don't deserve this, and everything sucks. I will never prescribe to that attitude. I don't care what and what if. When you live life in that manner, you will always find a way to be broke. You will always find a way to have issues in your life. You will always find a way to just be sad about things. You will always, always, always live a sad existence when you think like this. And this is why I'm trying to tell people, rich, successful wholesalers don't think like this. Rich, successful people, happy people don't think like this. Oh no. Oh my gosh, my back hurts. Why is this happening? Oh, I don't deserve this. Oh, okay, my back hurts. This sucks. But guess what? I'm still going to get through it. You just have to stop this sorry attitude about life. Okay. And you got to stop thinking about how you can't make a change in your life either, right? A lot of people say, oh, I'm overweight. That's just how I am. I'm big boned. Well, that's just not how I look at reality. I don't look at reality like that. I know the laws of thermodynamics, and this is where I can get canceled. But like, if you're overweight, stop saying that I'm big boned. It's the laws of thermodynamics. Okay. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be transferred. So if you want to lose weight, eat less, move more. I guarantee it. If you burn more calories than you take in, you will lose weight. Stop telling yourself you're big boned or, it's your metabolism. If you eat 4 calories a day for the next month and you only drink water and vitamins, you will lose weight. I guarantee it. Okay. I've never seen one 500-pound person who has walked 10 miles a day that ate 1,000 calories that did not lose weight. I've never seen one wholesaler that's called 4,000 people a day on a triple line dialer and that did it every single day that didn't have a ton of leads and a ton of deals. I've never seen it. I'll say this, I'll go even further. I've never seen one wholesaler, okay, that called 5 hours a day every single day for a year straight that didn't get a wholesaling deal. It just doesn't happen. Okay. So I'm using the overweight example, and I'm not saying this to be mean, right? I don't know one person, okay, that was 300 pounds that said, I'm only eating 1,000 calories. I am going to track my calories. I'm going to walk 10 miles a day, that didn't lose weight. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. There's not one person at a gym that has never lifted weights. They ate 200 grams of protein and lifted 2 hours a day with a personal trainer that didn't get stronger. It just doesn't happen. It doesn't happen if you call for 5 hours a day, every single day for a year straight. You don't get a wholesale. It just does not happen. And so there's some things in life that are absolute truths, and I will die on this hill. Okay. And the hill that it just isn't for me. You are self-sabotaging your own self by saying these things. And I refuse to live in a world that just serves these excuses of why you can't do the things you want. Okay. It absolutely drives me crazy, right? And I got a lot of opinions, but I ain't gonna say it today. Okay. I ain't gonna say it. But a lot of people have zero personal accountability in their lives. And these patterns will always emerge with yourself. Okay. And there's always obstacles. And I promise you, there will always be obstacles, right? There's always issues, right? And, some of these issues that I will tell you are actual issues in life, right? And the thing about it is, like, for example, right? I have helped a lot of wholesalers that are moms that are like, they're pregnant and they're like, Zach, like, I'm dealing with a lot of issues in my pregnancy and I'm still trying to wholesale. I am a realist in life. If you are pregnant, it is a lot harder to wholesale than if you are not pregnant. Okay. Those are just universal truths of life. Now, does that mean that you shouldn't wholesale? Does that mean no? We've helped a lot of people that are pregnant, single moms, married moms, all become successful. Okay. I've helped a lot of people with accidents, a lot of people with all these medical issues. There are things in life, and a universal truth is some people just have a better shot, in the race of getting money than others. It doesn't mean that's your story. And if you can just live a life where you're in complete control of how it comes out, or at least you have the most control over how it turns out, you will become successful. And so if you could just do the work every day, you will always have success. You will always do it. The thing about it is, especially when you're young, right? Nobody, and I mean nobody, is truly going to care when you're coming up. You'll have your mom. She doesn't really even know what you're doing, to be honest. But they'll root on you, right? They'll root for you. But there's really going to be nobody really caring about you coming up and trying to get into wholesaling. Most human beings really only care about themselves. And I don't say that in the meanest way possible. They can root on you, but they're not going to do anything to help you out. Like, it is really a lonely thing. And that's why I created the largest wholesaling community for wholesaling.com. It's nice to be with other people trying to actually get that bag and, root each other up and do JVs and stuff like that. That's all great. But like, you just have to accept the truth that you're going to be very alone in this chapter of your life. And that's fine. That's completely okay. But you should understand that, though. You should know that it's kind of you against the world. And that's not a bad thing. But when it's lonely, no one else is going to be rooting you up. But it's the same thing with like motivational music, right? I can give you a pep talk. I get you pumped up. I get you excited. But they'll get you excited for 3 or 4 minutes. But what about the other 4.5 hours of wholesaling? It's not the motivational music that's going to get you going. It's your own self and your own why of what's pushing you to start having success. And so nobody's truly going to be out here to help you except for you. When I kind of did my little stint a couple weeks ago where, I deleted the entire wholesaling course and I said, I don't know if I'm ever going to bring any more videos back. It might be a paid course. Everyone kept telling me that, Zach, you're the only reason why I'm going to become successful or not in wholesaling. And I really had a problem with that, because if I, knock on wood, right? Screw it, I just retire tomorrow, right? If I decided tomorrow I want to retire and just stop, I got plenty of money. That is never going to be the reason why you are not going to become successful in real estate. I'll be straight up with you. Okay. Either you find a way or you do it, right? Now you might have to pay someone $1,000 or $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $8,000 for a course. You can always find the money for it, but there's never going to be a reason why you can't get success in wholesaling, right? Never, ever, ever, ever. Now, do I make it easier? Yes, I make it way easier having freewholesaling.com, the Discord, this YouTube channel, answering your questions. But It's never going to be the reason why you're successful or not. Never, ever, ever, ever going to be like that, right? You got to understand that it's always going to be you. That's the reason for your success. And so when you win, the glory, the success, all the accolades go to you and not your partners and everyone else, right? But all the burdens on you too. And it's never fun. But here's the coolest part about 2025. The coolest part about getting started wholesaling real estate right now is the universal truth that I say. It has never been easier to win in wholesaling. Now, I'm going to tell you something pretty funny, but you are going against Gen Z. Really think about that for a sec. Like my generation, you are going against my generation in wholesaling. It has never been easier to beat my generation. I promise you, okay? It has never been easier to beat my generation in wholesaling. My generation, if you look at the bottom 90% of my generation, they are the weakest, most entitled, sorriest generation I've ever seen. They're so easy to beat. But if you look at the top 10% of Gen Z, pretty scary individuals. I will not lie to you. They are tougher than anyone I've seen. And I'm not trying to toot my own generation, but I'll tell you this. My generation, the dogs, the real dogs, you know, the people that have zero excuses, that have no care in the world. Like these are the 25, 23, 24, 25-year-olds that are like Navy SEALs, you know, Army Rangers, like those type of guys, snipers, right? I know a lot of people make fun of Gen Z. Like if you actually look at like the Gen Z, like in the elites of the military, like they are some of the toughest individuals you will ever see. The problem is the biggest pie chart you'll ever see in my generation is all weaklings. But the ones that are going to be tough, which I believe are most people watching this, right? The entrepreneurs, stuff like that, they're going to eat everyone's lunch. And that's kind of what I've always been doing. When I was coming up in wholesaling, 17, 18 years old, I was putting grown men, 30, 40-year-olds with kids and a wife out of business. I don't say this much, and I'm not going to say it too much, but like I've put grown men out of business. I've turned wholesalers into realtors with kids and a family because I was destroying them. Because I had an absolute diabolical, okay, I don't say it, but I had a diabolical plan of destroying my competition, and I did it. Especially on my own market when I was a teenager. It was pretty dirty stuff. That's for a different day. But I'll tell you this. When I was 18, 19 years old, when I put a lot of people out of business starting out, Rick doesn't say it because he knows we're not supposed to. I've done a lot of crazy things. And a lot of things I'm not proud of, and some things I am very proud of. I've said about 5% of the stories. I think when I'm older, I might say it. But I've done some insane things, and I don't regret a thing I've done. But I've put a lot of people out of business because I was willing to do whatever it took to become successful. And I'm actually shocked a lot of my wholesaling competition, like, not like real estate influence, but like I'm talking about like wholesalers in my market. I'm shocked there's no tell-alls about what I've done. I've done some crazy stuff. But I went Kimbo Slice on some wholesalers, man. Pretty crazy. And the reason I'm bringing this up is I actually went to the gym the other day, and this one guy I saw, he's walking out, and he looked at me like, I said, "Who's it?" I said, "Oh." I remember going to this guy. His eyes were like, this was a guy that he used to go on appointments, and I used to call the seller and say, "When's your appointment with this guy?" I would go an hour before. So the guy set the appointment the day before at 5:00. I would go at 4, get a signed contract, and then call the guy and say, "Hey, dude, locked it up. Sorry." And the guy was like trying to like hurt me. Like I totally forgot I did some of this stuff. And I saw him the other day. I was like, oh my gosh. It was like that, you know that song Space Cadet from 21 Savage? And he said, I was seeing this guy on the street the other day, and I used to rob him back. He was glad to see me. I had that moment. It was pretty surreal. And I've done some crazy things back in the day, but it's that attitude and that hunger that'll actually make you succeed more. Like when you tell yourself, I'll do anything for success legally, you end up doing it. And the moral of the story is my generation is very weak. but the ones that are very tough are going to, you have to be all in. It is, business is a war. Okay. It's the truth. And so that's why, guys, us at wholesaling.com, we're winning more than anybody else, right? There's not one wholesaler that has more success than me and Rick in our communities. No one can pull up and show thousands and thousands and thousands of deals from our students every single year. It just doesn't happen. The amount of money that wholesaling.com collectively makes is more than any other wholesaler. We should be a union at this point. We should be a union because we are the largest group of wholesalers in the entire country, right? And the thing about it is we all do it for free and we all give value for free because they all learn from free, right? And the thing about it is the reason why we succeed in our community so well, wholesaling.com and ZachDiscord.com, is I've made a very, very clear, and some people have called me very, very like bad about this, but I am very, very moderation heavy in our communities. And what I mean by this is if you decide you're going to be in wholesaling.com, right? And you decide you're going to be spewing hate, bullying, excuses, feeling sorry for yourself, you're just talking like a loser, you get booted out, because that mindset is a parasite and a virus for the mind. When you have one person like that's a, oh man, today's just a bad day, it is infectious to everybody. And I am very, very protective of my community when, first and foremost, you try to sell coaching, like, get out of here, bro. Like, we don't want to hear it. But the other thing is, if you go talk about how, oh, wholesaling's so hard, it's so difficult. Guys, just try to make the post in the Discord today about, tell me how hard cold calling is. You're going to get absolutely demolished, not by me, but everybody else in our community. Be like, dude, I'm making 40 grand a month cold calling. What do you mean it's difficult? Like, I used to be a sanitation worker. You know, I used to get up at 5 a.m. to go out here and do trash every single day. Like, we're calling in an air-conditioned room. Like, what are you talking about? This is so hard. Like, you'll get absolutely destroyed. And that's kind of a culture we have. You know, is it bad? I don't know. Is it toxic? I don't think so. But it's toxic in a way of, if you have any excuse, we just choke that loser mentality. And guys, I know a lot of people say loser like I'm saying in a mean way. I have a very, very unconventional view of when I call people winners and losers. And so let me be very clear. When I say winners, everybody in wholesaling.com is a winner, or a winner, what I call a winner in training, a winner in training, right? So you're a winner if you're doing deals and you're succeeding in wholesaling. I call you a winner. And if you haven't done a deal, you join wholesaling.com, right? You're what I call a winner in training. You're training to become a winner. Now, I also have a third version. I call them losers. Now, what is a loser? Is it a loser because of how you look, how you sit? No. A loser in wholesaling real estate is somebody that quits. And this is a hill, again, that I'm dying on. But if you quit, you are a loser. You have lost the game of wholesaling. The thing about wholesaling is you never lose until you quit. It is a game that doesn't have a time clock. But when you walk off the field, you have quit. And so I give no glory. I give no happiness. I give no protection. And I give no fond memories, or I just don't give anything nice or any empathy to anybody with a loser mentality. And that's a mentality that I should quit. This sucks. This will never, ever work. Guys, if you ever talk about you should quit, this isn't for you, just we'll kick you out for you. Okay. Like, I can't have you telling these kids who is living with their mom that is trying to make a change in their life that quitting is a good idea. Right. Like, you got to get out of here, dude. Like, we can't allow any loser thinking in this group because we have so many winners and so many people training, right? It's insane. So if you want to become successful and you want to win, you just don't quit. Here's the thing in wholesaling, right? I can only promise you one thing. And the only thing I can promise you is an opportunity, a shot at the table. And that is what America has always been built on. And this is something that I will always continue to do for the entire world. I've been attacked lots of times from Americans saying, Zach, why are you teaching people in Miramar, Indonesia, South Africa, Nigeria, England, France, like Mexico, Canada? Why do you help anybody around the world wholesale? Why don't you just keep it for Americans so we keep the money in America? And you know, the thing about it is, if you ever had parents or grandparents or like anyone like you actually grew up with that were immigrants, you know that like it's a blessing to be in America, and it's always a blessing to be in America. And America is where opportunity and everything's at, right? And the coolest part about America is you can come from India, you can come from China, you can come from anywhere, right? And as long as you can speak English to a point, right? And I don't want to get political with that, you have a shot of getting rich and becoming successful and living a life, and a great life. Where I know everyone wants to say that, you know, America is a terrible place and you can't ever get by, especially as an entrepreneur. But I still believe in America, it is the fair. It's not fair completely, but it is the fairest shot you can as an entrepreneur. I don't care what you have to say about me. I know every single type of man, woman, height, creed, any type of person, accent, no accent, that has got rich wholesaling real estate, right? I know Swedish dudes who became millionaires wholesaling. I know guys from Nigeria who are making millions from Nigeria wholesaling. I know guys in Asia making millions. Like, thing about wholesaling and why I love it so much is every single type of human being on this in this world has made millions of dollars wholesaling. And I truly believe this is gift to the whole world, what I know. And that's why I teach it absolutely for free, right? We're speaking about, you know, Father's Day. And my favorite, you know, hate comment that I get, and I get a ton of hate, but that's okay, right? For every 1,000 nice comments I get one hater. And the way I describe this is, if you're in a classroom of 1,000 people, do you think what we already know this, right? If you're, let's do 100. If you're in a class of 100 people, is at least one person in that class going to be an absolute trash human being, bully, jerk that's mean to everybody, that picks on you, that'll try to beat up a kid smaller than them? At least one kid out of 100 is going to be that person, right? Everyone knows that, right? Well, let's think about one out of 1,000. Every 1,000 nice comments I get, I always get one person who wants to say something mean. And the number one hate comment I always get is they try to invalidate my success by saying, oh, you know, his dad taught him how to wholesale. And I love that. That's my favorite one. And the thing about it is, if you go tell me, oh, you know, the only reason you're successful is your dad taught you. And it's so funny. That's my favorite hate comment, because I always say, yeah, like, that's why I teach it for free, though. And they're like, wait, what do you mean? It's unfair that Rick, who is a multimillionaire, taught me when I was like 15, 16 years old how to get started wholesaling. That was super unfair. Because back in the day, you had to pay $5,000, $10,000 when I got started wholesaling to learn how to actually how to wholesale, like get the real information. He already spent the $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 learning wholesaling, but he taught me absolutely for free. He gave me a $30,000 gift. Speaking about Father's Day, right? That was super unfair. That is nepotism at its finest. Go give me all the hate, and first and foremost, tell me that negates the information I tell you. By the way, right? That negates the millions of dollars of wholesaling deals that I've done, right? Let's negate all that. Okay, cool. But why do you guys, I have an insane guilt from that. Like, I feel guilty about that. And it's not that I'm insecure about it, but like, it's a truth. And it's a universal truth, right? But because he taught me absolutely for free, I decided the only karma I can give back is, how about everything he knows that he taught me? I'm going to teach that to you guys completely for free, right? Here's my karma payment. I could have sold a massive course and gave the money back to Rick as karma payment. But what I decided to do is, let's go on YouTube and let me teach people everything Rick taught me for free. And as of this video, as of today, right? I'm 8 years into wholesaling. There's not one person on the internet that has had the balls to teach you everything for free that makes at least $1 million a year in assignment fees. There's not one person that has a free wholesaling course that makes at least $1 million wholesaling on the internet. It's been 8 years. I've been doing this for 5 years on YouTube. Not one person. because it is so rare what Rick did to me, right? Most millionaire wholesalers that have kids, they don't teach their kids. Here's the thing. Most millionaires in wholesaling that have kids are absolute terrible fathers. I'm not, guys, a lot of people think I'm throwing shots. I'm not throwing shots at anyone. Most millionaire wholesalers that have kids are absolute terrible parents because they are overworked to death and they just cannot be good parents, right? A lot of anger issues, a lot of all these issues, and they just don't have a good child. I had an amazing childhood with my dad. And I wanted to be just like him when I grew up because of how amazing of a life I had with him, right? Like, I lived a great life. And he was always at all my sports. I'm like, I want to do what he does. He's really happy. Most millionaire wholesalers hate wholesaling. I want to get in house. They want to get all these things, right? And still to this day, I think I'm the only kid of a millionaire wholesaler that's actually making millions himself wholesaling, which is absolutely hilarious to me. But the thing about it is, I'm not going to get into that. Like, I know why, but I'm not going to say why. That's for a different day. But the thing is, Rick taught me for free, and I said, I'm going to teach you guys for free. I'm still the only person who decided to say no to tens of millions of dollars of coaching fees. I'm the only one that said no to tens of millions of dollars of coaching fees. And I wanted to teach it absolutely for free. And you got to remember this, like all these people that claim to be millionaire wholesalers, right? Their kids are like 30 years old and they don't get into wholesaling because they hate their parents or their parents actually don't make millions of dollars. Like, well, if my dad's not making, if he's a broke wholesaler, I don't want to be doing it. I don't know what to tell you, right? I'm just talking general. Like, does anybody know? And I'm legit asking, does anybody know a millionaire wholesaler whose kid has made at least $1 million in assignment fees? It doesn't happen. It never happens because most people on the internet are absolute liars. It's crazy to me. Maybe some new ones come out. I have no idea, right? But the thing about it is he actually was making a ton of money and he taught me to actually make a ton of money. And so I decided that I make enough money. I'm just going to teach it for free on YouTube as a fun little thing. And now we're at where we're at now, right? And it's pretty dang cool. But yeah, W's in the chat for Rick there. But a lot of people love to say that, hey, Rick taught you for free. Yeah, he taught me for free, so I'm going to teach you guys for free. I think that negates, the unfair advantage Rick gave me when now you guys have it. Now haters get to talk to you in the comments. Well, Zach taught you for free. That's why you got successful. If I quit wholesaling a couple of weeks ago, everyone said, well, Zach taught you for free. Now he doesn't teach me for free. So it's unfair that you became successful. People legit would have said that in the comments about you. I think it's hilarious. I think it's absolutely hilarious. But yeah, it's a fun life I got. And yeah, I'm here to help you guys out. So let's answer some questions. Let's see what's going on with everyone today. Let's hop on the Streamer link and me answer some questions. And by the way, guys, I'm not talking about I'm not throwing shots at anyone because I don't know anyone's personal business. Maybe, some people I know, maybe their kids are making millions of dollars wholesaling. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But I'm just talking generally because I only know one example, and that's me. So all I can say, it drives me crazy. I've had a lot of these wholesaling coaches. I've actually had their sons reach out to me to try to sell me like social media marketing. And I always say, I'm like, well, why don't you do social media marketing for your parents? Like they only have like 30 followers. And they're like, well, actually, I'm like, yeah, like you drive me. Like they all do different things. They'll reach out to me. It drives me crazy. Holy moly. Let's see what's going on. Let's see here. Okay. I'm not going to say that word. I have a feeling that's a trap name. And you're trying to get me canceled on stream. I ain't going to do that. That's a very sus name. I'm not going to say it. C Drone. I'm going to call you C Drone. I'm not going to say that, bro. Come on. You're trying me today. Hey, Zach, question. What did your first deal look like? Emotions fell, closing profits. So my first wholesaling deal made over 20 grand, was from a bandit sign. I got kicked out of class to answer the bandit sign. And it was pretty cool. I went to the house, got a contract signed, found a buyer. Pretty cool. Absolutely changed my life. I mean, how do you describe making $20,000 at 17 years old? Like it's just life-changing stuff. Like you'll never, ever match the feeling of your first deal. Like that's the highest high. It's like, I'm not going to use that example, but like, yeah, it never gets better than that, right? The only time I hit that high again was when I got my first $100,000 deal. I think I was 20 years old. 20 years old, made $100 grand on one wholesaling deal. That I've been trying to hit that high for about 5 years now. I've never felt so happy and excited about a closing in my life than doing 100 grand on a wholesaling deal. And I'll do, we can make a ton of money. You make millions of dollars. That it doesn't matter. So funny. Blake, what's going on, man?
Hello.
Yo, what's up, man?
What's good, man? How you doing?
I'm blessed, dude. What's up? How can I help you out?
Yeah, I just have a few quick questions. So, not I think 2 years ago we spoke, and it was about houses. But now I came back to it. But I'm looking at land now, and I purchased X leads. I pulled a list from PropWire of 4,000. It was 4,000 leads. It was like a niche list, 10 years
Does it come
ownership.
with free unlimited skip tracing?
No, that didn't.
No, it
So
doesn't. So why are you
no,
talking about it?
no. I'm only mentioning it in the sense of just
Why?
I don't know. Well, that's what I used.
Why?
I'm just saying that's what I used. I used it to
Are you
get
talking about the New York Jets? That adds no value to this conversation.
Okay. Well, I uploaded a list
I don't think
and
Aaron Rodgers is a good quarterback for the Steelers.
yeah,
Does that help you?
no, he's not a good
We
quarterback
could
for
talk about
the
things that don't
throw.
matter.
Yeah, no. Okay, so listen.
Does it, I mean, no. Does it have free unlimited skip tracing? Does it have a CRM included? Does it have 15,000 skip traces? I mean,
Oh no.
does it have
I
e-signing? Like, I'm
no,
just asking you questions. Like, why are we
I
speaking about it?
started by saying that I'm using X leads.
That's
I
awesome. There's
purchased
a
it.
reason. Okay.
And I already had that list before I wanted to spend the money. I was backing up about spending the money, spent it, and I tried to just upload that list since I had it. It obviously didn't pull all the homes, so I sent out text blast though. I was just confused on like the setup of it, so I was just having a question on like sending out like text blast. Um, how does that? Do I have to? I try to send them out. I sent like the drip message and everything like that, but it said most of them failed. So I'm just a little confused on how that process works,
Okay.
or like where I could go to watch like the proper video to be on the right path
So,
and
Blake,
stuff. Because
so how long have you been subscribed to me on YouTube?
I've been subscribed for you for a long time.
How many times have you heard me say the word freewholesaling.com? Just
Oh
genuinely
yeah,
curious. How many times? 100?
way
200?
way too many times. Yeah, man.
What do you think that my answer is going to be? I'm not trying to be a jerk. What do you think my answer is going to be?
Oh, it's gonna be freewholesaling.com. I understand that, and I understand that. I saw the video last time too, and I've just been out of it. I work a lot. It's something that's kind of on the back burner that I'm just trying to
Like,
get going
let
with
me
the
ask you a
free time.
question.
Yes,
Does
sir.
saying that I work a lot serve you or not serve you of why you can't succeed in wholesaling?
Of course, of course. I was just saying in the sense of X leads ninja mode specific. Is that like 100% that's in free wholesaling, or I've seen YouTube videos where you have like specific videos. I was kind
Great
of
question.
asking.
2 weeks ago, I actually revamped the entire course, and
Okay.
I spent about a year writing it and rewriting it. And I'm going to give you the exact specifics. Inside of the Ninja Mode tutorial, it's about 30 to 45 minutes. I talk about a very specific thing inside of Ninja Mode about making sure you have Twilio validation on your that automation on. That automation is going to make sure that if you have any landline numbers, that it will not be texted and it won't be failed. I have a sneaking suspicion that that automation is not turned on for you. And that's
Yeah.
the reason why it's failing is you're probably texting landlines. And if you had that automation, you wouldn't even be able to text landlines. That's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
But also, the really cool part is you could also talk to the support staff on Ninja Mode, and we can see the exact reason why it failed and talk to Twilio and see exactly what's going on. But the
Yeah.
reason I'm telling you is I just want to make sure that automation's set up. And freeholston.com, I revamped the entire thing, and it will give you the exact reasons why you're succeeding or not in texting.
Perfect. I wasn't like exactly sure. I didn't finish that video. I was working, but
How many hours a week do you work?
um, it's 40 hours, but A lot of travel. I do door-to-door sales.
Okay. How many hours a week, including traveling?
50.
50. Are you married?
No, I have a girlfriend. We live
Do you have
together.
kids?
No, sir. So I have a lot
Okay.
of time overnight. So that's what I've been
Okay.
devoting. That's where I pulled the list and set up the list and try to like, I didn't know if that free wholesaling has like the training has been fully revamped yet. I didn't know if that was open. So I've just been trying to just get it
Mhm.
at my own last night,
Great. Yeah, it's
just to
great,
get it
man.
going, just
I
to get something
actually,
started,
so
because
by the way,
I've been back on it. So
I could, no, I get it, dude. You're coming back, which is awesome. Do you drive when you're traveling, or do you take a train?
no, I drive. I drive.
Okay, cool. One thing I can tell you to do is I don't know what you do when you drive. If you listen to tunes or you have to call your girlfriend, I don't know what the requirements are in that relationship, right? I know
Yeah,
some girlfriends you got to call them on the way to work, so you call them for an hour a day. But
yeah,
I would heavily suggest that you don't have to watch it, but at least listening through the course while you're driving will help kill two birds with one stone.
100%.
And I just don't like hearing that I work as an excuse why you can't go through the video. Because I think here's the cool part about I deleted everything out of the course over a weekend and people were flipping out on me.
Yeah,
I took freewholesaling.com, which was 200 hours, and I spent a year to turn it into 20 hours.
yeah.
And so I think there's so much in there for you to succeed with, man.
Oh no,
And
I'm definitely gonna go watch it again. I took the course the first time around 2 years ago. We had a little conversation, and then I never took action. Um, and I like allowed life to catch up, but this time around I can't do that again. So that's why I sent out the text, tried, but I'm definitely gonna go back and go through the course and
what
everything like
market are
that.
you in?
So specifically where I'm starting out, just trying is Citrus County in Florida. With
Virtual or
the
in person?
virtual. I live in Connecticut,
Okay, Hartford area?
New Haven County, technically.
Okay.
Um, so I wasn't like the land like wholesaling wasn't. I didn't see too much action here. So
Yeah.
obviously Florida's a pretty hot market that I feel like you can get one out of it and that can just get your ball rolling, because everyone's down there doing something. So you know what I mean? So I've looked in there, 10 years ownership, vacant lots, obviously, absentee owners, like a couple different filters there, but a pretty niche list. So I feel confident in it. There's 4,000 people on it. It's just about properly skip tracing it and stuff like that. So
I would prefer you did. I would prefer you did Alachua County in Ocala. I just think there's what the kids call a lot more motion in that market, and that's Gen Alpha talk. But there's just not a lot of buyers or activity there, man. And Citrus County is just not that good. And the most important part about what I do is these one-on-ones, man.
yeah,
And I think,
I was waiting for one of these,
I
to be
mean, Blake,
honest. I'm
man,
not gonna
I
lie
feel
to
like
you.
if we talked every week or every other week, you would get a lot more out of it than any video you watch, right?
A hundred
And
percent, 100%. If I could do this every week, I'd be
so,
a partner with
I mean, I think Gainesville, Alachua County, man, is going to be way better for you, dude.
you. Florida. Okay,
Okay.
for sure.
So that's Marion County and Alachua County. I think you're going to crush anything under 300 grand there. You'll
Hmm.
do really well, man. And
And
so
for land, you're saying, right?
land, hold all the stuff, man.
Okay,
I mean, are
because
you
I'm
really going
not
to make me
as
get in a
in.
whole land talk right now with you, dude? Like,
No, I understand
Blake,
doing
let me
both
ask
of
you a
them,
question.
but I
No,
am trying to
you've
start.
opened it up. You've
Yes,
opened it
sir.
up.
Yes, sir. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it
How
now.
many land deals have you closed?
I have closed a total of 0.
How many people are making over $1 million wholesaling land that you have seen?
I couldn't tell you.
Is it over 10?
Wait, say that again, sir.
Have you seen over 10 people make over $1 million a year wholesaling land?
Um, it kind of cut out. Hello.
Do you know at least 10 people that you can name on the top of your head that are making over $1 million
Uh,
wholesaling land?
hello. I
I
cannot
mean,
hear you.
dude, this is a you problem, dude. Um, can you count over 10 people that you know making over $1 million wholesaling land a year? Bro,
Hello. I can hear you again.
There we go. Okay. Do you know 10 people making over $1 million a year wholesaling land?
No, I do not.
You can even do people that are there fake. No. You can name off at least 10 doing houses though. And
Yeah, for
so
sure.
I like looking at statistics, man. Right? I like looking at statistics, dude. Let me actually help you out, Blake. There's a guy in my gym, okay? He's making over $1 million wholesaling land in Texas. No joke. He went up to me. He said it. I said, dude, are you serious? And he showed me the checks and stuff. I'm like, bro, what crazy story. This guy's crazy, right? He actually plays, I won't get into it. I see him at the gym like once a month or something. We'll always talk for like an hour. Cool guy. Very cool dude. He's probably watching this video. He makes over $1 million wholesaling. And I always make fun of him because he only wholesales land. Well, he says, I only do land. But he makes over $1 million doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So I am giving him the benefit of the doubt. But I will tell you that I know a lot more people doing houses than land. So there is some excuse in your mind of why you can't do houses.
Yeah, I mean, I don't say it as in like I can't do houses. That's not what it's more of just the sense of just picking like the niche of land and just getting my foot in the door with a lead off of that, or like my first deal off of that, and then generate that into houses and just open up the, like go down one route, focus on one, learn about one, and get good at one of them, and then open it up as time moves on. I don't know. Just because I know everyone is doing houses, so just to be a little bit more niche in the sense, I trust myself in putting the work in and stuff like that to be able to get something out of it. Like I'm not really relying on this at the moment to make me $1 million this year. Like I understand that that's not everything. Like that's not like the most realistic thing, but
let me ask you a question, Blake.
yeah.
Okay? Let me ask you a question. If everyone's doing houses, but you have to admit there's at least wholesalers doing land, right? Hello? Blake going ghost on me. Oh, Blake. All right. Well, you good?
I can't hear you again. I will say.
All right, Blake. We'll talk later, bro. There we go, Blake. The thing I'm telling you about land, I love land, by the way, but here's the thing about land. Yes, land is like 100 times smaller of a market than wholesaling houses. But here's the problem. Every single land wholesaler in Florida, they pull a list of every single infill lot in Florida, and they all do. So the thing about it is 100 wholesalers doing only land in Florida, they pull the list of every infill lot in Florida and they market to it. Every wholesaler in an area doesn't pull every single probate list. That's why the advantage is still in houses. That's the thing about it. Like, yeah, it's the way I look at it is like I like to look at like soccer. I don't want to be a good like striker or winger because everyone's trying to be an offensive specialist. I'm going to be the best goalkeeper of all time. Here's the problem. There's a lot less goalkeepers than there are strikers and midfielders. Yeah, that is true. But here's the problem. A team can only have 1 or 2 goalkeepers at most, maybe 3. So the problem is there's not a ton of goalkeepers that are like, the thing about it, you think there's going to be no goal, then you try, and then there's, oh wait, the goalkeepers are here are really dang good. And there's only 2 or 3 on a team versus they could put 30 people on a squad for the rest of the soccer team. So it's like, dang, I have to be like the most elite goalkeeper of all time. And the problem is if you're a mediocre goalkeeper, you're not even going to be on a team. If you're kind of okay, mediocre in soccer, you'll only be thrown on a team. And so the same thing happens in there's so many more house deals than land deals. Here's my favorite part. I like to do both. Be a goalkeeper and a regular player. You could do both. The problem is when you only want to be a land guy, it's like, oh man. Make sure you do both. Ernest, what's going on, man?
Hi, how you doing, Zach?
I'm blessed. How are you?
I'm doing great. So, a few weeks ago, I just started doing wholesaling. I mean, I knew about it, but I just didn't have time to do it and stuff. But I mean, I got my first wholesale deal on a contract. I flip it to a buyer,
There we go.
but it's still going the process. The seller has signed all the documents. It's now left with the buyer to like sign it. And he said he has to go through the property, which is this coming week. He said he has to go through one more time to make sure there's nobody like in the house or like squatting or whatever. But that's another thing on the side. The main question is like I have another property under contract in Flint, Michigan. What do you think about it? Is it a good market? Is it
Flint,
possible?
Michigan sucks for wholesaling.
Really?
Oh,
Okay.
oh yeah.
So what would be I mean the first property that I did was in Detroit. I mean it's still in the process, it's not done yet. But what do you think? What market should I be in?
Wayne County, Michigan. So that's the county of Detroit. That's where I'd be at.
Okay. All right.
I like Grand Rapids is really good. Kalamazoo's okay. There's some decent markets there, man. I would do Grand Rapids and Wayne County. That would be my thought.
Grand Rapid. Okay.
That's what I'd be doing.
Okay. Okay. So what do you think? Do you think the buyer can still, pull out from my first deal that's still like going on? Because I think I made him put $1,000 non-refundable deposit because my seller was, it was kind of my first, wholesale deal. So the seller wanted me to put like 3,500, I think, and I negotiated it down to like $1,000, after 15 days. So within a week, I was able to find a buyer, and the buyer put like $1,000 down. So now I don't have to, put. I didn't have to put $1,000 down because my buyer did. But do you think there's any chance that the buyer can pull out from the deal, or like, because he already made his worker. He said so made his worker go in there to like inspect the house and everything already.
Ernest, are you virtually doing this or where do you
Yes,
live?
I live in Boston, Massachusetts.
Okay, cool. So how far is that from Springfield?
Springfield. You mean in Springfield, Massachusetts?
Mm-hmm.
Um, like an hour, yeah, 2 hours. Yeah, I would
Okay,
say
what
so.
about Worcester?
Weston.
Worcester.
Oh, Worcester. Oh, that's like an hour.
Okay. Okay. I'm just asking. Those are decent markets in there, but okay. So what I like to do is I like a $3,000 earnest money, non-refundable from the buyer. Now, Ernest, if I gave you a $3,000 earnest money deposit, no pun intended, uh, and I say, screw you, I'm getting out of this deal, you keep 3 grand. And then you
Yeah.
find another buyer and you keep an extra $3,000. I think it's a win if they try to screw you out of the deal, man. That's a win for me, dude. So I have no really. The problem is they just got to put the EMD down. You're going to be good. And so I would just put a little more, like at least $3,000 earnest money. And then when the seller wants to put a crazy down payment, I always say, well, I'll put it down after the inspection period.
Oh, great, because that is exactly what I said. So within that
Oh, there you
inspection,
go, my guy.
yeah,
Smart man.
yeah, ChatGPT has been helping a lot too. Anything I just ask it and it
Oh
just
Lord.
helps me out. So one more question. How do you find like a great market? You're telling me to
Dude,
go
you have
into
two
like,
amazing markets I just told you, Wayne County and Grand Rapids.
yeah, but like I'm asking like what do you use to determine like a good market? Is there like a criteria it has to meet?
So I've made millions of dollars in Wayne County, Michigan. And if I could do that, I think you can do it. Because
Okay, so
it's not that hard. And I do it virtually too. So if I could do it, I think you can do it. The way I look at it, do I know a lot of people making at least 6 figures in that market? Grand Rapids, yes. Wayne County, super yes. That's how I determine it. Worcester, I know a ton of people in wholesaling doing well in Worcester. I know even more doing better in Springfield. And so
okay,
the way I look at it is I do the Okay. Like I basically do the spit test and see where's the wind blowing. Well, if I see a bunch of people doing deals in that market, I think it's a good market.
Okay. Good to know that.
That's why I mean, there's no scientific approach to this, man. And so if I see I like to look at kids, right? Like 18, 19-year-old kids that don't know what they're doing. And if they're doing deals in that market, okay. If they could do it, I could do it even better. That's the way I look at it.
Okay. And one more question. Do you usually walk your buyers to their house, even though you're doing virtually? How do you walk them? I mean, I've seen some videos. I mean, you and your dad talk about walking a person, through their house and stuff.
So you can JV with somebody. You can pay someone to do it. You either pay for it or you have someone do it for you on a JV. That's really your only options.
Okay.
If you have no budget, JV with somebody in Detroit. We know a lot of people in Detroit that can do it with you. And I have some amazing people in Grand Rapids that'll walk the deal with you. That won't screw you. But either you pay for it on a JV or you physically pay money to do a walkthrough with somebody. It's really up to you which one you want to do.
Okay. So coming back to the deal that I have in Flint, Michigan, should I just get out of the contract? Or do you
No.
think I should try to
What
find
I
a
would do
buyer?
is I would go in wholesaling.com and I would find wholesalers in Flint, Michigan, and
Okay.
see if there's anybody in there that has a ton of buyers and see if you could make 5, 6. It's not a good market, but you could still, if it's a good deal, you could still make 5 or 10 grand. You just got to talk to some of the top wholesalers in Flint and see what you can do.
Okay.
So I would make a post, say, hey, I need help. I have a deal in Flint. I really need a good buyer. Who here is doing deals in Flint? Do it in the Discord and do it in wholesaling.com. You'll find someone to JV with. Guarantee it.
Got you.
Also
Thank
use the map feature. There's a map feature in freewholesaling.com. It'll give you a map of all the local wholesalers in Flint.
Okay. And I have one of the videos that I was watching, you said sf3.com. I think that's a website. Basically you can find it's a hedge fund, I think. They buy houses from from wholesalers and stuff. Does it still work? Because I went on their website, there was no like place for
They're
you
a
to
lot tighter
establish.
on their buying criteria. I haven't really talked about it in a while. That
Yeah.
hedge fund's having a little bit of issue right now buying from wholesalers. They just tightened up. They're more southeast than anything else, so they ain't gonna be buying in Flint. Remember
Okay.
what I just told you, Ernest.
Yep.
Do it with a wholesaler, man.
Okay. All right. One more question, and I'll let you go. Do you do this regularly, or what are the days or time you do this? Is live?
Ernest,
Yep.
do you see the link scrolling on the bottom of the screen?
Do I see the link?
Do you see the little red thing on the bottom of me?
Yep.
What does that
Okay.
say?
Free wholesaling course.
There we go.
Okay.
Are you part of that free wholesaling course?
No. But I'm
Why?
part of your Discord.
Why don't you join freewholesaling.com? It's
Okay.
free.
Okay.
When you go inside, when you join it, look at this. This is what it looks like, okay?
Okay.
All you need to do is just go to calendar, and all of my streams and stuff we do as a community is right here. Like, for example, right here, I'm doing my Sunday night stream. Boom, right
Okay.
there. All my stuff is on this calendar. You just got to join the community. Why haven't you joined freewholesaling.com yet? Are you just new into wholesaling?
Okay, so previously, like, I know about wholesaling. I knew I wanted to do it, but because of time and everything, I wasn't able to do it. But finally, I got a few time on my hands, so I decided to go all in again. So like I started like late May. Like I knew information about wholesaling, but late May I started like I didn't really even start late May. It was like kind of like iffy, but then beginning of like June, that's when I really like started. I just wake up and I just grind all day.
Freewholesaling.com, my guy.
Okay, I will.
I put it in the chat. Go there. The reason why is you go here, okay? All right. You're going to go here. You're going to go to map. All right. These are everyone in the entire world. We have people in the community, right?
Okay.
So if I go here to Michigan, where in the world's Flint, dude? Flint's right here.
Yep.
All the wholesalers in Flint, right here. We got a ton. Not a ton. But we got Joshua. Looks like a guy's doing deals. Christopher. Trisha looks like a cool person.
Okay.
Michelle seems cool. Like, look at all these people. Okay.
Yep.
We got Jakayla. We got Joseph. I mean, he says he's a successful wholesaler in Flint. I mean, I'd come. You just click him, press chat, and message him.
Okay.
I mean, I'm here to help you out, man.
All right. We really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much, Zach.
Ernest, I better see you make a post like tonight.
I will.
Talking about your deal, man.
I will. Because I already made a post because I'm on Discord. I asked if
Ernest, how much money do I have to charge you to join freewholesaling.com for you to join it? $1,000, $2,000? Like, how much money do you have? Do you have to give me for you to actually join this thing? Because
how much money?
I will do it for you for free, bro. You just got to join it.
Yeah, I will. I will. Trust me. Okay. I'm on the grind, man.
All right, Ernest. Let's see it, man.
All right. I'll see you there.
All right. See you, bro. Thanks.
Bye.
You know what's crazy? Everyone says, why do you have a Discord? Why? Because we have people that join from Discord that have no idea what freewholesaling.com is a thing. And I got people at freewholesaling.com that have no idea the Discord's a thing. It's absolutely crazy to me. We're having a lot of people on Discord because from WAP, these like day traders, they're like, what's wholesale? And then they're like, oh, wow. And then they start making money. It's hilarious. But guys, life will either happen to you or for you. It is ultimately your decision on how you view it. But I promise you, if you start wholesaling, you stay consistent, you will get the results. So guys, go to freewholesaling.com, learn how to wholesale real estate absolutely for free. And like always, make sure you smash the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you soon. This is Zach Ginn signing out. Have a blessed one. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.